Imagine you're running a business in early 1900s New York. You sell horse-drawn carriages. Suddenly, a noisy, smoke-belching machine rolls down the street. You have two choices: learn to build these new machines, or beg politicians to ban them so your current business survives. When Henry Ford started rolling Model Ts off the assembly line, the carriage industry was doomed. Complaining to the government couldn't save them. History shows that resisting a massive technological shift rarely works out for the old guard. Economists call this process creative destruction. It's a painful but necessary cycle where new technologies wipe out legacy industries to make room for modern economic growth. It's why we stream movies today instead of driving to a Blockbuster video store. This chart shows the basic math behind this cycle. You have a red line representing a legacy industry crashing to zero, while a green line representing new innovation is exploding upward. The capital and labor freed up by the dying industry provide the literal fuel for the new one to grow. You can't fight this math. For a nation's economy to move forward, it has to allow the old to decline. Embracing that destruction is what creates net economic progress. Today, the industry is shifting towards batteries, software, and artificial intelligence. These technologies are beginning to redefine the global market, moving production away from the internal combustion engine. But here is where things get strange. The United States usually leads these technological leaps, yet right now, Washington is choosing to protect its older legacy automakers, rather than forcing them to adapt to the new reality. Instead of letting competition play out, the government is stepping in. They are throwing up steep tariffs to keep cheaper, higher-quality foreign electric vehicles out of the American market. By slashing internal incentives and blocking external competition, these policies create an artificial vacuum. They are pausing the process of creative destruction and isolating the American auto industry from the reality of global advancement. While America guards its domestic market, the rest of the world is moving. In China, companies like BYD and Xiaomi are iterating at hyperspeed, rewriting how vehicles are built. They don't look at an EV as a mechanical car. They treat it as a piece of rolling consumer electronics. They prioritize battery tech, software, and artificial intelligence, and they launch new models fast. Compare that to traditional Western automakers. They spent a century perfecting thousands of moving metal carts in a gasoline engine. Structurally, their factories and corporate cultures struggle to pivot to a software-first market. Economist Jeffrey Sachs points out that this is a critical misunderstanding by the West. He warns that protecting these older companies from new competitors is a strategic error. The definition of an automobile has changed. Legacy manufacturing metrics are becoming obsolete in the modern tech war. The political logic behind the tariffs makes sense on the surface. Politicians want to shield American factory jobs and keep legacy brands from collapsing overnight. Think of it like a boxer who only fights weak opponents at home. They feel invincible until they face a real fight. That is exactly what is happening to U.S. car companies. Behind a massive wall of tariffs, they face zero real pressure to innovate, improve their software, or lower prices for their consumers. By trying to save old industries from short-term pain, Washington is ensuring their future irrelevance, leaving them unprepared to compete outside of U.S. borders. So, what happens to global capital when the U.S. walls itself off? The rest of the world simply bypasses the wall. The future supply chain is already migrating directly to Southeast Asia. Chinese EV giants are producing too many cars to keep all their factories at home. They have to find regional partners to scale efficiently. That outward push has created a highly lucrative vacuum for developing nations. Take Indonesia. They hold massive reserves of raw nickel, a crucial ingredient for EV batteries. Instead of just exporting the dirt, they required foreign companies to build processing plants and battery factories right there in the country. Or look at Malaysia. Because modern electric vehicles rely heavily on complex electronic brains, Malaysia's decades of experience in semiconductor manufacturing makes them a natural hub for the new supply chain. Instead of fearing foreign investment or trying to stop a global transformation, ASEAN nations are leaning into it. They are using outside capital to build new industries and move up the manufacturing value chain. History shows that technological shifts move at their own pace, regardless of trade barriers. Political walls cannot stop industrial revolutions. The next 2 decades will test where a nation chooses to place its focus. Do you spend your energy and capital protecting yesterday's successes, Or do you risk that capital to build tomorrow's infrastructure? America's ultimate mistake is blocking the very process that drove its own past successes. By protecting legacy industries, the nation is choosing comfort over the painful competition required to lead the next era of manufacturing.